Well, thank you. Wow. Thank you. Wow, hey, I'm really... Hey, let's hear it for the band. Wow, the band. Oh, see, I kept hearing about the 60s, the summer of love. I love the 60s. I just don't remember the 60s. But I am thrilled to be here. Thank you for coming out on this first-year anniversary. And I want to begin my talk by telling each and every one of you that you matter. You matter. Okay, so what? I'm going to think that each and every one of you literally have a unique purpose in your life. And I happen to believe you're not here by accident. In fact, I think that each and every one of you are here on purpose. I want you to remember that phrase. It's called on purpose. Now, I want to begin my story with this. Oh, not that, this. Now, this is the very moment. Now, look, I know you know this picture. This was the very moment that Dorothy meets Glenda the Good Witch. And if you know the story, she lands in Munchkin Land, had some impression that she was not in Kansas anymore. You know where she thought she was? She thought she was somewhere over the rainbow, right? That was her thing. By the way, my purpose in life is not to sing. So please, don't even go there. But I love the conversation. She said, Glenda, how do I get home to Kansas? And Glenda said, just follow the yellow brick road. Remember that one? Well, think about that. If I told each and every one of you, you want to find the meaning of life, you want to find your purpose in life, just follow the yellow brick road. You'd all look at me, right? You'd say, wow, how do you do that? They only said that in The Wizard of Oz. But guess what? She questioned Glenda. And Glenda told her, like all good things in life, you just start at the beginning. So I'm going to start at the beginning. Let's do that. Let's start at the beginning. If you talk to people that are spiritual, avatars, gurus, people with wisdom, they will tell you that life has no purpose. In fact, you have nothing to fulfill. In fact, if you had something to fulfill, then what would you do? That's what spiritual leaders are saying. But if I go back to the beginning of life's purpose, I'd have to go to the meaning of life. Well, if I talked and listened to the same spiritual leaders, they say the same thing, don't they? They say life has no meaning. Life has no meaning. Wow. In fact, as humans, we are like meaning-making machines. We make meaning out of everything. In fact, a friend of mine, Steve, he forgot his wife's birthday. She said, apparently you don't love me anymore. But that's not what happened. So we make meaning out of things. So I think what they're telling us is life has no meaning. There is no purpose in life. So you just got to live your life. They all say you got to live it to the fullest. Check this one out. People wake up, they go to work, they come home from work, they watch TV, they go to bed, and then what do? They wake up. Okay, follow me a little bit. The dancing ball up here. So they go to work, they come home from work, and then they do what? They watch TV, then they go to bed, and then they wake up. Then what they do is they go to work. And then what do? They come home from work, they watch TV, and then they go to sleep, and then what do? They wake up. But listen, you didn't do that. Now, some of you went to work today. I'm sure you all worked like we all do. You came home, you might have watched TV, but guess what you did? You came here. Because for some reason, you're on purpose. I just want you to get that. By the way, I want to point out that Dorothy, her purpose in life, when she met Glenda, was to get back to Kansas. See, once she gets back to Kansas, that purpose is gone. So we can have multiple purposes in life. One is the loneliest number you'll ever hear. It was a band called Three Dog Night. Remember that one? Yeah, it is. It's not just one thing. Now listen, I want everybody to think big. I want you to think like you got the whole world in your hand. And I want you to think that it's important to take on big responsibility in your life. About a month ago, this guy, who you may know is the CEO of Facebook, what did he do? He went to Harvard, did a commencement speech, and said that. He says, if you want to take on a big if you want to feel like you have purpose, take on a big responsibility. Let's think about that. I'm the vice president for the Vietnam Veterans of America. I know you're looking at me, you say, Ron, you don't look that old. In fact, I had somebody the other day that said I do look that old. But I'm not that old, but I was in Vietnam in the 60s, maybe before some of you might have been born. And then I retired from the military. I thought that was a big responsibility. But no, I'm not looking. No, in fact, if you've served in the military, stand up. Come on, let's thank everybody. But thank you. Thank you very much. I like that. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, less than 3% of the population has ever served since World War II. But here's the point I want to make. Look, many of you are making a difference for the homeless. Many of you are trying to end world hunger. Many of you, look, anybody meet this girl, Andrea, back here? I'm trying to remember her. She's the one with the cards for humanity. Did you see those cards? I mean, that's taken on big responsibility in the world. Now, let's keep going. So I really want to take you on a journey because that's what I did in my life on my journey, right? I wanted to think about things. So what I did was I get into the world of self-reflection, continuous thought. Continuous thought and your method of thinking is a high-level activity. So I started to think about this thing as each and every one of you are thinking this evening, right? Because you got 6 speakers, I'm the 6th one, and we're getting you thinking. But I was in the 6th row at Shea Stadium when this band was playing. And I kept having the girl I took with me, she said, hey, tell George I'm here. You couldn't hear anything. And by the way, just so you know this, I broke up in June, but the concert was in August. I still took her. What kind of a guy is that? And that's my lovely wife sitting right there. So, the Beatles. In 1968, they went to Rishikesh, India. Why did they do that? They were very famous. They were very successful. But you know why they did that? Because they wanted to know the meaning of life. They wanted to understand what their purpose was in life. Really, I'm not making this stuff up. They want to know what the reason for being was. And you know what happens when you think and you reflect and you did what they did, which you should do because I did it? It becomes the most prolific time in your life. You know they were inspired to write 42 songs out of 213 in a catalog? Is that amazing? And think about the songs. They realized that life just keeps going. Obla-dee, obla-da. That's what they did. Obla-dee, obla, life just goes on. Brah, whatever they said, right? And then Maya Farrow, her sister came with her. Her sister's name was Prudence, by the way. And she was all taken back because the Beatles, a lot of hoopla, so she wouldn't come out of her room. Then it took George and John to say, hey, dear Prudence, can't you come out and play? So continuous reflection, continuous thought, high level of activity. Take a look at this. Anybody know who this is? Oh, that's a young Picasso. Now, for those that don't know, Picasso, he was a Spanish painter. He was a sculptor. What I identify with Picasso is very similar. I was interested in the meaning of life. I'm certainly interested in my purpose in life. So look what he said. He said that the meaning of life for him was to find my gift. Then he said, the purpose in life then would be for me to give it away. You see, the Beatles gave away their music. They were inspired to write more music. They figured that out. Picasso did a lot of paintings, a lot of sculptures, right? For those that know that. And he gave that away. So I'm saying to myself, what a novel idea. Can you imagine tonight at the Walk the Talk series that maybe you find your gift and you give it away? I want to try something. Do you mind? I'm going to ask you to maybe get up, but I want you to turn to somebody, tell them your name, and tell them what your gift is. You can hug him if you want, and then the other person goes, begin right now. Get up, tell them your gift. Tell people. Tell them your gift. Go ahead. You can hug each other if you want. Go ahead. Okay, can I get your attention? Shh. Okay, we're going to give you. Shh. Okay, listen. Did anybody like that? Did that make you feel good? Do you know what happens when you share your gift? By the way, I'm going to give you plenty of time at the end to share your gift, but you know what happens when you do that? It triggers a chemical reaction in your brain. It increases what is known as your serotonin level and helps you feel good. So if you're looking to find your purpose and you want to walk that talk, give it away. Now, what about this guy? What's he got to say? The Dalai Lama, a man of wisdom. Now, if I had a conversation with the Dalai Lama, I'd say, hey, what's the meaning of life? What's my purpose in life? Look what the Dalai Lama says. He says it's to be happy. Let me hear it if you're happy. Okay, well, guess what? Look at it. The guy that owns the Vogue, he's happy. And the guy behind the curtain, Richard, he's happy. Don't worry, be happy. If you're happy, maybe that's your purpose in life. One is the loneliest number you'll ever hear. You know, if you're looking for some God-given thing given to you, you know, one day you'll be on your bed, and you'll be on your deathbed maybe, and you might say to yourself, all right, what happens if I had it all wrong? If I never really understood what I stood for? What about a dog? Anybody like dogs? Look at this. You want to find your existence? Teach people how to love and be happy. Teach people how to love and be happy. That's how a dog finds their existence in life. Great movie, The Purpose of Dogs. This is a picture of me with my dog. Is that great? Listen, my dog teaches me about compassion and forgiveness and patience and love and happy. And look, I'll be honest with you. Listen, let me show you something. Do you know that if I took my dog and my mother-in-law and my wife, I put them in the trunk of my car, do you know that if I shut the trunk, I drive around the block and I open up the trunk, the only one that's going to be happy to see me is my dog. The only one. The dog's going to be happy. You know, I come home from being away. I call my wife up. Was watching TV, which is fine. And I say, honey, do me a favor, get the dog by the door. And when I come home and my wife opens the door, my dog comes running to me. Not that my wife wouldn't. And my wife's sitting right there, look at it. So here's your formula. Listen, you got to go from the head to the heart. That's all you got to do. It's about 18 inches, no big deal. I want you to take your right hand right now, put it on your heart. Take your left hand, put it on your head. I want you to start patting both of them. Pat them. Oh, look at you. I can't believe you're doing this. Okay. Listen, and now what I want you to do is now just keep patting. Don't stop. You're stopping. Okay. I want you to take your left hand now, put it on your heart. Now you got two hands patting. And I want to show you how easy it was to go from your head to your heart. Now, I know that's a cheap trick. I know you think it's a cheap trick. But listen, here's what's interesting. The heart fully develops before the brain. You know, the brain takes about 20 plus years to develop. I think the heart starts developing at 2 weeks into conception. The heart fully develops. You know, the passion you have for anything in your life is in your heart. The heart's all about love. Do you see, the head is what tells you can't do it. The head is all about all the other stuff that we all get into. So we got to get from the head to the heart. When we give to people, we can do that. When we think about what we love and what we love to do, we do that. Here's another thing. We got to get back to self-reflection, right? Let's reflect. Let's think about it. Because it's a high level of activity. And then you got to take the whole world into your hands. You got to take a big step forward. You got to do what people like Andrea does and anybody else, a friend of mine that works with the Humane Society making a difference for kids. You got to share your gifts, right? That's your formula. I got to think about it. I got to share my gifts. I got to take on a big worldly view. And if anything, I got to ask a question. So it's not about you looking for answers. What's the gift that's been given to you that you can give to people that'll make a difference? And then what I find is you take the moment and you live with it. You take the moment and you dance with it. And you take whatever moment that is, and don't wait for that to be perfect. Just take that moment and make it perfect. And then the last thing I think, at least I think so, is I think there's time for celebration. So what we do, are we okay with celebrating? Let's do it, come on. God, everybody up. I want everybody dancing. That's us. Come on, let's bring them all out. Time to celebrate, yeah. Thank you, thank you.